Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if tech problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. Viewers can visit at www.pactv.org/Duxbury to watch a video of this meeting on demand. Welcome, welcome. If somebody is watching this and doesn't realize we have two members that are remote, and so we do have a quorum. There you go. But I don't think so. Chief, how are you? Chief?
I had to unmute myself. Very good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Okay. Gary, want to hit it?
I will start.
Okay.
So according to our agenda this evening, we have a few remaining town meeting warrant articles for both the annual and the special that we need to get through this evening. And I'm going to start with union contracts, which represent Article 8 of the annual and Article 3 of the special. There are two, and let me start off by saying that our HR director, Jeannie Horn, is not with us this evening. However, I promised her that I would do my very best to act in her stead and explain the union contracts for this group, and hopefully we can get through them successfully. We had two remaining contracts, both with the police department. One is the police commander's contract, and the other is the police patrol and sergeant's contract. Those were the two remaining contracts that needed to be settled in order to have all 6 contracts in place for FY23 through FY25. These two contracts were recently negotiated and approved by both the union as well as the select board, and are in line with the select board's parameters for the cost of these contracts. So essentially, let me walk you through the high level issues with the contracts. And what you'll see is the reason that these contracts are both on the special as well as the annual is because they encompass fiscal year 23 as well as fiscal year 24. So there is a prior year cost impact, which would result in retroactive wages being paid to all members of these two unions. The police commander's contract, remember that this essentially covers the 2 lieutenants that we have on staff. During this contract, however, there was a transition. There were several transitions, which made the calculation of this contract and the retro wages very complicated because we had an acting lieutenant, we then had a promotion, we had an existing sergeant who also got promoted. So there was a level of movement that happened during with respect to the staffing of this contract. But essentially, the commander's contract resulted in a general increase or a cost of living increase of 2%, 4%, 4%. And in addition to that, there was also a change with respect to their in-service training. The cost of in-service training, and instead of the town incurring costs of overtime, sending folks to the 40 hours of annual in-service training that is required, what we have agreed upon is to adjust hourly rates to reflect the cost of that in-service training and build that in at a much lower rate into their hourly rate, as opposed to the town incurring the cost of the 40 hours of overtime to attend that in-service training. So those were the general impacts of the commander's contract.
Will the training be done during their regular working hours then?
Not necessarily.
So they will be working additional hours or what would have been previously overtime, but just at a better rate?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yes, that's part of the post.
The total cost impact of the 3-year agreement for commanders came out to 10.85% over the 3 years,
Yikes.
With the patrol and sergeants, the general increase that was agreed upon was a 2%, 2.5%, 2.5% over 3 years. The total 3-year impact with, the in-service training adjustment was also applied to the patrolmen and sergeants union as well. Total cost impact over the 3 years for that bargaining agreement was 11.57%. What the town also negotiated, which was important to us, was that we are implementing across all unions and across all of our staff multi-factor authentication, which is a cybersecurity concern that we have. And so that was incorporated into these last two.
Go on mute, please. Whoever just logged in, please mute. Oh, dear God.
And in addition to, within the patrolmen's and sergeants contract, what was also added was an additional step to the upper limit of the wage scale. So with the patrolmen's union, there were previously 5 steps in the wage scale. This added a 6th step. And for the sergeants, there was previously 2 steps in the wage scale, and this added a 3rd step, which allows the folks in that union to have some additional longevity as they work through the wage scale itself.
What triggers the steps, Mary? Just longevity?
Longevity.
Okay.
And what is the time period?
Yeah.
How long do they have to be there before they get the 3rd step or extra step?
It's an annual step. So you work from left to right through the wage scale with an annual increase. And then as you work top to bottom through the wage scale, that's where the educational incentives come into play. So the first set of grades in those schedules reflect a bachelor's degree, and the second set of grades in that schedule reflect a master's degree. So as you achieve additional educational incentives, your wages are adjusted accordingly.
Associates doesn't do it anymore?
It does not.
Okay.
There is what is called professional experience, and so there were some, I think there's one person who is grandfathered in who does not have the bachelor's or master's, but going forward, bachelor's would be the minimum.
So how is it, Rainey, maybe you can speak to this. How is it that we go to town meeting and talk about increases of 10 and 11% and explain that so that it's understood?
So.
Go ahead, Mary, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. So this is where Jeannie would give her very eloquent description of, as part of the negotiations with all of our unions, the town had undertaken a very comprehensive classification and compensation study that looked at positions across all of our collective bargaining groups. And in these groups in particular, what we have found when we compare our compensation and classification against our competitive set data, our competitive communities, and there were about 19 different communities that were evaluated as part of looking at this collective bargaining group, if you will. What we found is that the wages for patrolmen and for sergeants in particular here in the town of Duxbury were much lower than our competitive set communities that we analyzed. So part of what you're seeing in this agreement is to begin to develop some equity in our positions in this collective bargaining group to make sure that we are competitive with other communities and that we are not losing our trained staff to other communities that have more competitive wages.
Mike, was this to stop the hemorrhaging of kids that we trained up and then went to other towns?
You bet, absolutely, 100%.
I mean, that was a thing.
Yep.
That was a big thing. The pay to send them to
And
school
yeah.
and 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 as soon as they were viable policemen, they would be gone because for good
Exactly.
reasons, for their support of their families.
And much like police, as well as fire, the onboarding process is very, very lengthy and can be very costly for us as we are trying to fill vacancies. And while those folks are being trained, we're paying potentially overtime to cover shifts for vacancies while we're waiting for these people to come on board.
Plus paying for the academy.
Exactly, exactly. So, what we're trying to do is to protect our investment.
Right,
But also to make sure that we're paying people fairly and equitably, not only across our existing workforce, but also competitively in the marketplace, so that we don't continue to find ourselves in that position.
okay,
That
Just ensure that would be nice.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So the same conversation, so the same approach was taken to the negotiation process with these two unions. The other unions, that you've heard Jean go over time and time again.
it would be good to have, and I'm yelling because I don't know why, I think you can't hear me, I'm being my mother. But it would be good to have the statistics of how many, young officers had left during that period of time, or the attrition that we had to withstand over the previous, 5 years. And having that kind of anecdotal conversation would be something that would be, I think, impactful if the question comes up.
We can certainly prepare that information.
Yeah, I mean, it will solve, it'll answer the question.
June, did you want to go through both articles before we take a vote, or?
So essentially what, Article 3 of the special town meeting would be to, ratify and approve the retroactive wages that are due under these collective bargaining agreements. We're still finalizing the calculation. We're working with the police department to go through and verify those calculations. But initial estimates are on the order of $98,000 for retroactive pay for year 1 of that collective bargaining agreement. That's inclusive of both the commanders and the patrolmen's union.
And that's FY 23
23,
for both unions.
correct.
And then we're gonna vote the regular for next year in the annual.
That is correct.
Okay,
So let's clear the special first.
yeah,
Okay, move to approve Article 3 under the special, special town warrant for, sorry guys, fund collective bargaining agreements.
so. Okay, great. So this would be for the union and for the commanders, and we have a number, 98, what?
Yeah. So I'm giving you a ballpark right now of 98. It's actually coming up, the initial calculation is $97,085, but I'm verifying that with the department head. Oh, I'm sorry. So the funding source for that is free cash.
Funding, okay, yeah. Well, the motion will have the number anyway, so
Exactly.
all we need to do is to support, yeah, great. Okay, second. Okay, all those in favor, Jay,
Yeah,
Brand I.
Betsy, aye.
Kathleen, I.
Sean,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
okay, all right. 600.
I think it's funny.
That's the special.
That's the special. And it's already.
Yeah.
And the end.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right, so now we're gonna do the annual town meeting. And, is this gonna be all of the contracts that we have so far, or are there gonna be more potentially?
This will complete all 6 union contracts through fiscal 25.
This right here.
Okay, great. Great. So, motion, do you have anything on these? Are we we've done the police, and we've done dispatchers, I think we've got that one before.
That is
Library.
Yeah.
We talked library.
Yep, we talked library.
Correct. And the Article 4, personal bylaw.
Okay, move to approve Article 8 under the annual town warrant for union contracts. Second.
Here we go. Any further discussion? Just as an anecdote, again, the actual numbers will be in, the motion at, how many, do you have an estimated number for this article?
I do, so the estimated number is 174,000
For all,
for both, the commanders as well as patrol and sergeants, yes.
okay, all right.
Aye.
Aye, JR, Brett,
And aye.
aye,
Kathleen, I.
Sean,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
okay, 600. Good, good, good.
Excellent, thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, just have that story to tell if it comes up, or if Mary, if you can get that for us when we're presenting it, we can,
I'm gonna follow up with Jeannie.
yeah, because I think that that's important. It wasn't an arbitrary decision, it was because it costs us more to replace them certainly than it is to pay with the wages. Should be.
Exactly, exactly, that's
Um,
exactly what the research yielded.
Cool, 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 cool.
So next is Article 16, which I'll defer to Rainey.
Are we in the annual?
We are in the annual, I'm sorry, that completes the articles for the special.
Thank you.
So we are now in the annual.
Okay. 16, how are you?
Sorry.
We're in the,
Just
This
a
is
minute.
the easement article for the town, for the DPW.
Yep, we're in the process of finishing up the easement, and we have a dollar amount. The easement, by the way, if you take a look at your warrant, it's for the driveway to the DPW building next door. That project's moving forward, and as part of that, the driveway for many, many years has been on somebody else's property, Mr. Zanetti. And he's been a very kind neighbor, but we're at the point now where we actually need to have an easement that was never there all those years ago to perfect the access to this area. And the cost for that easement is $40,000. We had an appraisal done, which came in much higher, but we were able to negotiate the price down.
Well done.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, Zanetti.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a good neighbor. He's a good neighbor. We want to keep him that way.
Right, okay.
Move to approve Article 16, proposed acquisition of a permanent access and utility easement in, on, and under a portion of, or portions of the property at 894 Tremont Street, the DPW building.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, JR, Fred,
And aye.
Betsy, Kathleen, Sean,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
600, great. Thank you, thank you. Okay, back to Washington Street.
What article are there?
We are
24.
24, and I assume that's
Yeah, I'm here for that.
why you're here.
Sorry I couldn't be at the last meeting. I
No,
was somewhere warm.
no, it's fine.
So was I.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we had some questions. You were away. I think you've probably been brought up to
Yep.
speed on that. And basically it comes down to, liability and, and where does this take us and blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
And the fact that if indeed this is now a continuing path to sidewalk, I think several of us had mentioned the fact that that was not a high priority for the price tag that was going to be attached to them. As it was a huge project, which would have a lot of money attached with the 500,000 from the state is, a drop in the bucket compared to what it would cost to manage that. But that being said, this was presented as an article that just accepted the survey that we've already paid.
And that's what we're trying to do.
And that's
all
all
we're trying to do right. Yes. That's it. This is the first step to doing anything along Washington Street. As it turns out, we did investigation over a number of years. Could not find where the Washington Street layout is on file anywhere. So
Probably
it
isn't.
probably was done at some point, because if you notice all the stakes that went in, many of the stone walls, in fact, almost all the stone walls and the fences are right on the line, so somebody knew where the line was at one point, or the engineers that engineer the properties before the walls are put up and the fences are put up are identifying it from their bounds. But that said, we didn't, as a town, did not have the layout available. So this is what pushed this forward was the idea of the sidewalks. We want to complete the sidewalks over time, in sections, more or less. And the idea would be to only be doing this with funding that we raise through grants, et cetera, through the state, not coming to the town to do any of the piecemeal. Basically, our sidewalks are piecemeal right now. Once upon a time, somebody said, yeah, go ahead, put that in here, because that's why it's so spotty. With anybody objected to it, then we didn't get a sidewalk, even though, as it turns out, now we've done the survey, we had the right to do the sidewalk back then, but nobody really knew, is our understanding of the past of this. So we're memorializing the layout of Washington Street. It's not a relocation of it. We haven't moved it anywhere. This is the survey that shows where it's supposed to be, where it is. We're just, in fact, relocating that. It's not us moving the street in any way, which was a little bit inferred by the paper. Like we were moving the street around somehow a little bit, but that's not what's happening here. It's a survey of where the street layout is. All we're looking to do with this article is to approve that. What comes down the road when we decide to do anything with sidewalks, that the funding, all of that is arranged where we're gonna go for funding from the state to hopefully be able to do sections of it. It's divided into a bunch of sections that we can go to the state to complete streets to try to get funding for. Beyond that, there's no plan for the town to just foot the bill to go putting in all the sidewalks. And again, all we want to do is connect the dots. We're not looking to redo the sidewalks that are there now. A couple of these sidewalks, there are some very tiny slivers of our existing sidewalks that turn out to be on people's property. From what we could tell on here, no more than a foot in some cases, but we're not looking to recreate the sidewalks that are already there. Again, ideally, we'll get some funding later on down the road from Complete Streets or other funds to be able to connect the dots and especially get ourselves down to the school system.
Is there any conversation about if somebody has a wall or something on what is now determined to be town land?
Well,
What are we gonna do with that?
I don't believe we would, at this point, be doing anything we wanted to move anybody's particular walls. If somebody's
Well,
wall
whatever.
is on the town's land, then having the benefit of having their wall on the town's land. And one case that was said, it would be that basically the town owns the wall at that point, if that's the case. But again, I don't think we found any of that in the survey. There are a couple of fences that are on some.
Donnie Mary's property on the corner of Wadsworth.
Some of his,
Yeah,
A lot, the whole wall.
the whole wall.
yeah.
And has the planning board or anybody reached out to any of these people to say,
No, because we're not looking to, and that's again the case, I can't remember, is there a sidewalk in front of that property?
across the street?
And but it's across the street, exactly.
He's on the east side.
He's on the east side. We're not even looking to do anything on the east side. The sidewalk, the only sidewalk projects that we're looking
Now.
at is to stay
Life's a
west
long
side.
time. Life's a
It
long
is.
time. You
It
can't
is.
say what's gonna happen in the future.
It is, but in the future, if one wanted to do something on the east side and we were putting a sidewalk down there, then potentially that, if there's not enough room where the wall is where it is to get a sidewalk in front of it, then the sidewalk, the wall would be moved, most likely. But that would be all worked into cost of a project, et cetera. And again, we're not looking to do anything on the east side anyway. And none of that is coming down the road now. All we want to do is lay out where this is. This is important for our utility companies and everything too. Now, they might be able to replace some of these holes we have that get pretty well damaged. They're really close to the edge of the road. Now we have the layout. We can show them. They can push some of those further in off of the road. It's all of those things.
You know what? It doesn't make a bit of difference what I think. I think that we're opening a can of worms and this is gonna be the.
We have to show where the layout is. You're not gonna lay out Washington Street, one of the main.
No,
roads.
no,
yeah.
but it's gonna be a gift that keeps on giving, but it is what it is,
Every road in town's laid out.
yes, go ahead.
My point exactly, I was just going to say that, I think we owe it to the town and to the property owners to lay the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple, I don't think it's really all that
It became
debate.
a
I don't
question.
think anybody's looking to take anybody's property, no one's trying to ruin anybody's wall, but I think we need.
No, I don't wanna cut you off, I'm sorry, that was rude. I don't mean that, but it's just, you're right, it is what it is, I mean, it's,
Let's move on.
Yeah, like, I think we've beaten this one to death, and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Move to approve Article 24, proposed relocation of the layout of Washington Street.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, JR?
all right,
Brent,
I'm gonna abstain since it impacts my house.
Kathleen, aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Al?
I'll off mute Al.
Off mute, buddy.
oh, wait,
Nope, gonna be, is
how about
that?
Sorry.
thumbs up?
Sorry, aye.
Aye, okay, great. And I
501.
just for the record, it doesn't negatively impact it. I knew where the lines were.
Yep.
So then none of this is a surprise, but I just feel like
And-
that
Most
could be
people seem to.
appearance of impropriety.
I,
Sorry.
I did not abstain because I'm on the east side.
Well, so, yeah, but so am I, but by the same token, you know, it's the survey. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
No, that's fine.
We'll see you.
Article
Trying to work that one.
That was Article 24.
Absolutely.
Fred, I'm sorry, that was really rude of me. Kathleen's hitting me. It was all her fault.
Understood, not a problem.
Trying to get
We're ready.
Slapping me. It was terrible. I was all upset.
28's IP, is that correct?
Yes,
28 is,
it's the Girl Scout house, Brent. That's it.
That's correct. There was insufficient time to receive bids and the scope was never fully defined. And the Conservation Commission recommended IPing it, as did, and then the Board of Selectmen did, and we're recommending the same for you.
So move to approve move to IP, thank you, Article 28, CPC rehabilitation of the Girl Scout house.
Second,
All those in favor, JR?
yeah, aye,
Fred?
Brent,
Aye.
Aye.
Sean? Al?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's it.
anything on the operating budget?
Oh, baby. Wait, 5, operating budget, any changes? Are
No,
we waiting?
there are no additional changes to the operating budget.
So we're
So we
cooking with gas on that.
are done.
We are done to, well, don't say that. Jinxie cat. Jinxie cat. Why would you say that?
For tonight.
Jinxie cat. Okay, great. Where does that leave us now? We have, what, 2-3 weeks, something, before we have to
Sure.
show up for the dance?
Yeah.
We
We have 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2.5
couple weeks.
Yeah.
So should we, what do you wanna do as far as, posting meetings, Mary, Rainey? You wanna leave, we're obviously posting a meeting for the day of town meeting an hour before it starts,
right.
just in case. But we've even done the contracts. I mean, we never get those voted before the last dance.
I would suggest maybe we post one meeting a week, just so we have a date we can meet. So we
Okay.
don't have to worry about it having a legitimate posting if something comes up.
Is that fair? Yep, sure. I think that's
And
what
then we just can't
Yeah.
meet.
It's a good idea, just in case something weird happens.
All right, so we're gonna,
27th and 25th.
yes, Kathy.
If we post for one week, we do Tuesday,
yes.
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't matter to me.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying to Linda.
All right.
That works. best
And
for
then
me.
we'll let people know by the Monday morning if we're gonna cancel or not. So 27 and 5, Linda, cancel 29 and 7, and we'll have a meeting on the morning of the 9th.
And just an announcement, we do have our meeting for the motions scheduled for the 28th. of
Right.
February.
Are you coming to that, friend?
First I've heard of it.
This is
Just
hot off the
came out
presses,
today.
my dear.
Yep, just came out today. You're not missing anything.
That's all right, no, I'm just going to my phone,
Just to
where
let
my
you all. know.
calendar is. And it's the Wednesday, the 28th of February,
That is
Yeah.
correct.
what time?
9 o'clock, town hall.
I have a conflict, I'm gonna see if I can get out of it.
Okay. Okey dokey pokey. Leap year. There you go.
Yeah. My sister-in-law's birthday.
Rainey, do you have your list in
I
front of
will
you?
be
That,
on the 29th.
that completes everything, right?
We're
Anything
good.
else?
We're good, Mary. It's all good. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was in alignment.
Rainey, is there anything else that you are, seeing bubble around that we might have to deal with beforehand?
No,
Or is it
this was it.
Oh, is there a hand up there? I'm sorry.
There's something in the chat. I don't, somebody's trying to.
I don't have control of the chat. Linda,
Al
could you
Hoban
look-
says he's been muted and he cannot connect video or audio.
I'm all set right now.
Oh,
Thanks.
hi, Al. There he is. Look
Hey.
at
Al's in.
We're just ready to
Yep.
adjourn now. You all
that.
set?
He got on just in time to adjourn.
That was the plan.
Will be those 2 meetings posted, 3 meetings if you count the day of. And I know what we haven't done. Oh my God. We haven't assigned articles.
By the way, Betsy, before you do that, did you all get copies of the warrant? I had sent both of them out. The final versions went out to everybody. Hopefully y'all got them.
Yeah.
This is the fun part. I knew that there was, I thought I had to go like today.
Okay, so starting at the top,
Let's start at the top.
You do an annual or special?
annual.
All right. What are you looking at? Is that from time?
Yeah.
Is it, can we write it?
Yeah, I'm a second word.
Okay. When did you send this? Rainy?
Last Friday.
Yeah.
Would you like a copy of contents, Betsy, and that way you can track it?
Or I have, a hard copy?
I can give you mine.
No, I've got this one. Is it any
Oh,
different than the one I've got?
Nope.
If that's the one that.
This is January 9th.
Table of contents has not changed.
Okay, we don't need anything for 1, we don't need anything for 2. We don't need anything for 3. Funding of salaries,
That's gonna be Jeannie.
so that will be Jeannie,
And I'm Jeannie's daughter.
and Kathleen, if there's something there that needs some explanation. Great,
Did we vote on this? Jeff?
what is it
Yes.
here?
Did you revoke that while I was away?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Operating budget, we'll go, Rainey, we'll do it as regular. So Mary, did you come? No, you didn't hear it, Roger. We just go through it, read it through whole. As we go through with no discussion, and then come back at the end and bring up the different ones that are held and address them as necessary. It seems to work a lot faster than just getting caught up in something in the middle of it and then trying to get back in the loop. So, that it's difficult at that point, so you might be called upon to, to do something or to head or, friend or I, or so, if it's easy, we'll try to answer it, but it's usually fairly straightforward.
Yep.
I mean, and at this point, we've beaten these to death. We all kind of know what the numbers mean.
Right.
Capital, Alex,
Is that Alex?
yep, Alex will do that for fiscal advisory if there's anything. Rainey, are we gonna do our notes,
Yeah.
times it was
Be
the worst
brief.
times?
Mine will be very brief.
Oh, mine will be even briefer. Nobody wants to hear anything to say after 30 seconds. So when do you want to do that?
When we
Before-
normally do, you go first and then I go after you. And then, that's when you roll through the 99 lines.
Right before Article 5.
Yep, exactly.
So before Article 5, after 4, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And then we've got light. There really wasn't anything in light that was, too.
$56,000.
Right,
8 items.
yeah.
It's pretty light.
It was pretty,
It's real light.
it's real light.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
but you're right, it's very simple this year. You don't have any money to spend, it makes life so much simpler,
Yeah.
really. Yeah, I basically will just do it. If it's held, we'll just call on whoever made the
Right.
request to speak to it. Our capital lights, do we have bids on those? If it's under a certain amount,
They're
'cause
under
it's under
10, so
the,
it's sound business practices.
yeah, okay, great. That's what I. Okay. Electronic balloting, well,
I'll take
that's
that.
friend.
Anybody else, I'll take it.
That's friend. You love that one.
I do.
Beach lease. Do we, Rainey, have you heard anything? Are anybody gonna speak to that? Do you think?
We do if questions are asked.
Right, but I'm just saying, I haven't really, after, I mean, I was at that last meeting with the two groups. And, I just don't know if there's going to be a conversation that could come up with that. It's always a point, right?
Yep. They just had the board just had a meeting on Monday and Chris was there and we talked about it. And the board voted to approve it, voted to recommend approving it. So like I said, if there are questions, we'll answer them then.
Okay,
I probably know
yep,
whether
great, JR,
people will
perfect,
believe me because I live across the street from the beach anyway, but anyway.
yep, perfect.
All right.
4th of July, we don't need, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer.
I'll get up and play the national anthem.
Yeah, there you go. Educational cable. Did we settle that? Did we get that squared away? We revoted that, right?
Right?
Peg, we don't, I mean, that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
North Hill Country Club Management lease, is anybody gonna speak to the new lease? Rainey,
Yes,
who's gonna do that?
I will.
Okay. I mean, all people are gonna wanna know is what are we guaranteed and, you know, blah, blah, blah.
It's a good story, I think.
I think it's a very
Mhm.
good. It's
Yeah,
really a-
it's great. Yeah.
It's a comeback. That's for damn sure. Okay, so then we get into 14 and 15, right?
I had those last year, so I'll take them this year.
For the PFAS?
Yeah.
Okay,
And if you'd
so
like,
I don't remember, Fred, pardon
Yeah, go
me,
ahead.
did you vote for 15 or
I
against
did.
it? So do we
did.
want a minority
well,
or?
I'd be willing to speak to both sides of it for you if you'd like. But if you want to have a minority report, I'm okay with that too.
Well, you'd be the minority report.
That's true. If you want to have a majority report in addition, I could just say the vote is split and here's why. Some
Okay,
of us didn't think it was appropriate to set aside money prior to actually knowing what is. Others thought it would be helpful to help prepare, something along those lines.
right,
And you guys gotta decide too. You probably split like we were.
right, probably,
There you
yeah,
go.
I think, yeah, I'll just bring it.
If you feel strongly that you wanna make a stronger case for the
I
no.
just think it's important to make sure that people know that the report that is going to be paid for by 14
Right?
will not be delivered until first quarter.
I would
And so
be
the
very
money,
fair in
yeah,
explaining the whole picture,
yeah,
if
so
you'd
the,
like me to. And if
yes.
you think it's important.
Well,
to-
just the
to
money
separate
aspect
the
of
yes
it, not
and the
the,
no.
what I'm hoping to avoid is a conversation about PFAS
Whether
that
we
none
should
of,
do that or not.
that
which
nobody is
really
going to
the case.
understand. I want to keep it to numbers if we can.
Okay.
And, you know, obviously it makes sense, to spend some money to figure out the extent of the problem and how, you know, we would go about working on it and prioritizing it. And the second one is just the numbers. We'll have the data to know what this is gonna cost
Understood.
by then. So,
I'd be
Yeah.
willing to make that kind of a presentation if you'd like me to.
yes, that'd be,
Okay, I'll do both.
that'd be swell. Okay, great.
And I have the DPW facility when it first came up, so I could do the easement too if you'd like. If anybody asks, I can't imagine they will.
Yeah, I have feeling, you know, if nobody asks for it.
No, I'm not
we're
going, I'm not
we're
gonna stand up
gonna-
there, look for an argument, I'm just gonna be there in case somebody says something.
I think we should just thank Mr.
Right.
Zanetti for his,
And Mrs.
huh?
And Mrs.
What is it?
And Mrs.
And Mrs. Oh,
A couple.
yes, well, I didn't know if there was a Mrs., I've just heard his name, so. That's a glitch. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Zanetti, and thank them for,
That's good to bring that up here.
That was very good, Mary. Thank you. Thank you. Egg on my face, Missy.
17?
That's IP.
Did I say IP? Okay.
And
18 administrative? Mary?
I'm sorry.
Is 18 administrative?
That'll more than likely be me.
yes,
If
I think
Bernie
that,
wants to jump in.
no, not at all. You may explain that because it is administrative, but it is it is very
Financial.
technical, so, you know, whatever.
Same with, 19?
19
is
is, 19
pretty-
is simple.
it-
It's just removing rock from our list of available
That's right.
revolving funds.
Yes, it's
So
another secretary, like an
It's
administrative.
it's a ministerial thing, yeah.
You know what, and when I read the motion, I can just, I think that that'll probably be in the motion, right, Rainey?
What's that?
Oh, gotcha.
19,
19, when we take, rock out of revolving fund, it'll be in the motion saying that it's no longer necessary because it's an enterprise fund, correct?
That's correct. It also says it in the warrant in the explanation.
Okay, so we don't really need to speak to it. We've already beaten it to
Nope.
death, right?
Yep.
Historic district deception.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
how did we vote on 20 and 21, you know?
it passed.
It passed, but
Okay.
4-1.
shut up.
No, it
Who was
wasn't
the one?
Brady. There were two, no,
No, I'm sure it was just one.
The vote I
I-
have is 4-1. And then the
Really?
next vote was 5-0.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal on that. Yeah, 4-3-1. I never changed.
Oh, sorry,
that.
I'm looking at the board. Sorry, wrong group. 4-3-1. Sorry about that.
4-3-1.
Yep,
Yeah.
wrong group. Thanks, Kathleen.
For 20?
Yes, for, no,
Oh, wait,
that would be,
for Article 20, excuse me, for Article 20, you guys voted 8-0 in favor of it. And for the next one, Article 21, you voted 4-3-1.
Okay, thank
There
you.
we go, there we go. Okay.
Thank you. I just caught that.
And who you the abstention, I think? JR? Is that you abstain on the Alton district? Yeah, not that it matters, find that count.
Yes, I abstained on 20.
Yeah, I thought so.
yeah, I'm not gonna flip-flop at this point. So who's gonna speak to those? I can't, I'm too much of a mental case on them.
I'm not qualified.
Huh?
I'm not. 20 and 21?
Well, repairs, replace of existing feature town-owned properties. So that, it was like the middle of the night one night, I was thinking about it, I'm thinking, oh, you're such a jerk, Betsy, I can't believe that, you know, you're making such a stink about this. And then I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, these buildings aren't in historic districts. So this was always presented as a concession, it made it so easy. It's still adding to it because they're not in a historic district, so. I know, all right, that was my 3 AM thing. So you don't want me involved in this, that is
I don't
very
want to be
clear.
involved either.
No,
Give
I
it to
don't
Al.
want to be involved. in that.
Would Al or Sean be interested in taking
Are
those
you
two
gonna be
articles?
home, Sean?
Say that again?
Are you gonna be home,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll be there, live and in person.
live and in person?
Would either of you like to take those two?
She's not here.
Can't do
be
that.
Yes.
He's brand new, can't do that.
All right, fine.
I'll
All
take
right.
them if nobody wants them.
No. Sean, do you care?
No, I'm
Who's-
fine. I can take 20 and 21.
We could give it to Nat. Nat's not here and he loves that historic stuff. He's a pilgrim, for God's sake.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bradford Taylor,
Yeah.
It's got 3 names. But
there's the
Sure,
Bradford.
Give it to
Okay,
Nat
but-
and I can be a first alternate.
Yeah, that's,
all right.
yeah, well, you know what? We're gonna give both of those to the pilgrim.
Yeah.
I
Nate's
love
getting
doing
both
that.
those two?
Yeah, give them both. to
You
the
gonna
pilgrim.
tell
The Pilgrim, we'll tell them eventually, sure.
Get out
Before
before the
town,
meeting.
before town meeting,
Yeah, get out before the meeting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. All right,
supportive offsite storage is spent in Newburyport. I think we know who's gonna address that.
yeah, that we
Mary.
don't have to speak to that,
Mary and Jim.
yeah. Proposed acceptance of Cooper Hill. Oh, shoot, I know we voted for this, I was gonna ask Scott when he was here about this. So are they gonna the planning board just gonna speak to this one, Randy? Cooper Hill,
Yes,
okay,
it's a very simple statement. Everything was done exactly as it should have been, and it was certified by the engineers.
okay, great. So planning board will speak to that. Who's gonna speak to the layout of Washington Street?
Also,
Will you?
You,
Okay.
did you abstain for the vote?
No, he voted, he's on the east
Betsy
side.
did.
I
You were
did,
comfortable with it though?
Yeah.
I don't wanna make you.
no, I think that, I'm all in favor, only because I think it's important that neighbors know their boundaries.
Right.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, and Chuck had pretty strong feelings, in support of that article too.
Well, it could give it a chuck.
If he wants to.
Chuck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude, come on, the guy hasn't been to.
Yeah, but he was.
but he was all over this.
Town hall and stuff like in the house.
Yeah.
If Chuck doesn't
I
want
think
it.
we have JR with Chuck queued up as a backup.
Fine. What number is that?
That's
24.
25 through 31 is CPC.
Did anybody have CPC this year or meeting with them?
Oh, they came.
No, did any member?
There was not, I don't think that there was
But there never was
liaison.
An assignment or anything?
I don't think. so.
No, because I mean,
They do their.
operating allocation and conservation and the rehabilitation of the Girl
Girl Scouts
Scout
is
houses,
IP.
IP.
The town clock might be a big one.
Yeah, especially if somebody goes up.
You
and
know,
up on
that's-
the hate.
You know what?
The Affordable
They made that
Housing
mistake
Reserve is
back
kinda
in
confusing.
1905. Unring that bell, haha. I mean, we own it, so we,
Gotta maintain it.
well, and I think isn't it lovely that CPC is going to pay for it, so,
We might as well maintain something real.
yes,
Right,
yeah, I mean, that'd be
right.
kind of a fun thing to do.
Why not?
See, that's-
Uh,
Just like Virginia.
That was a zinger.
That was good, I like it.
Bada bing.
I'm biting my tongue on that one, JR.
Anybody, Al, do you go to Pilgrim? Anybody a member of Pilgrim, they could be a hero. No, nothing,
Nothing.
nobody's answering.
He's on mute. He's
Al's
not-
on mute.
Al,
Al, you've gotta get off mute right now.
Get off mute. There you
All
go.
right, I'm off.
Did you like the CPC articles?
Al, we're gonna
Back on
give you CPC, but I don't think you're gonna have to speak to anything but maybe the clock, okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll
great.
speak to the clock. I'm sure there's some American poetry that I can get up and tuck in my shirt and just stand up and read it. That's all.
David Frost.
On the midnight ride of Paul Revere?
That'd be nice.
Well,
I'm
you
putting
know,
it in
Friends got the idea. And by the way, on this remote, the one thing you cannot see me do, Betsy, is to take a giant step backwards.
Yes, it's bad.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So I'll take the clock. Yes.
Would you believe
I'll
that
take the clock instead of the turkey. Okay.
Do you understand what happened with the transfer of funds to the Affordable Housing Reserve?
Go ahead. Brief me on that.
Reach out to Molly.
It's, yeah, I mean, basically it was just land that was going to be used for affordable, then had to be reallocated to the farm. So the monies, that were contributed by from the affordable housing bucket needed to be replenished.
That's
Okay,
fine.
so
I'll
that-
take that. Not a problem.
They took money from different buckets and they had to, one of the buckets was affordable housing and the land that supposedly was tied to that is now not suitable for building a house, so they're reallocating funds back into that bucket.
I'm happy to take it.
Okay, great. And that's basically it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
looking at the special, I think they're kind of
They're pretty straightforward.
straightforward. I don't think there's many questions hidden in there. You agree, Mary? I think they're pretty
You're
straightforward.
very straightforward.
Very straightforward.
Kind of money spent, isn't it?
No money to spend, so you can't really get too crazy. The open space and rec plan, the 30 grand for that, I have to say, I don't even. See if the town recommends to appropriate from the community preserve open space for technical. This is Article 1.
CPC, yeah, that, and that's a requirement every couple of years, you have to, I can't remember whether it's 3 years or 7 years, towns have.
Oh, this is the money they put in that, so that they have it to do appraisals or do whatever.
Right, it's their,
No,
oh, it's the clearing of the path.
no, so I'm.
Keep going.
Would you like to speak?
Would you like to answer us, or would you like to guess? We do like to guess that. Really fun.
It is $30,000 for a consultant to put together the open space plan, which is a requirement
Oh.
of the community every several years. So we have a current plan. It is due to expire, and this is to replace that housing and open space production.
Production. Did you hear that, Al?
You're on mute.
Yes, I did.
Okay, great, perfect. It's because it's you. Rescind the article establishing climate action, great. Okay, and then the special is like,
Nothing.
well, I wouldn't say it's nothing, because there's important work to be done there, but it's not, I don't think it's
Controversial.
controversial. Cool. Cool.
And then Jeannie will handle any of the collective bargaining, or Randy will, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
Mary?
Yep.
Yeah.
somebody. Okay, cool. That was what we needed to do.
You guys need anything from me as you think about
Does
articles?
anybody need something about Carmen?
Do you guys need anything from between now and town meeting as you think about preparing to respond to?
Just if anything, if there's any adjustments that need to be made, it would be great to have kind of an overview of, where free cash is gonna be at the end of it, where's stabilization, these are questions that can come up. What else would inquiring minds wanna know? I mean, yeah, are we gonna be, Rainey, is he gone? Rainey,
No,
you
I'm
still
here.
here?
I'm here, yeah.
Are we gonna be taking on, the next, this is this year, but next year? The
I am.
bus store,
Yep,
is that gonna be in your?
yes.
Okay. How does everybody feel about that as a topic of my remarks? Because there's really not much to be said about this year. I mean, other than if you don't have much money to spend, you just do it.
Would you be more specific, please, Mrs. Sullivan?
Well, I think that the conversation over the course of this year has been that we need to start early and take a look at certain items to determine whether we indeed need an override to reset the tax levy after 30 years. I'm not saying that we do, I'm not saying we don't, but I mean, I don't know how much further we can push it. And, one of the things that I'm disappointed is that we don't have that survey ordered. Or, we lost our facilities manager, but,
Any money in the budget this year for that, yeah.
no, it was gonna go into capital
I know.
I don't know how we even approach that conversation without knowing what we need to maintain. But that's my opinion. But I do think that the conversation is gonna happen. It can't wait till next September when we all get together.
I think there's
get
a
together.
couple of things that we certainly should start on early. I would, and in kind of my bone to pick, but I would like to look at fees in general. And get to the point where, one, the fees are doing what's legally possible for them to do. Apparently, a fee can only cover the cost of doing the job, or something like that, roughly speaking. But at least get to the point where we think, we know how long it takes and about how much money it takes us to do it, like issuing a sticker. For a girl to get up, for a person to get up, for the counter, everything that's involved in it is charging. Because it's an individual, it's not the town that's gonna, it's a single person, and therefore you can charge a fee for that. And then I think we should get, and I think this is probably Alex's job more, I believe, fees and things like that but keep the ball rolling, that once you establish what the fees are and they're fair, it's a simple, I think it would be a simple job annually to come up with a percentage annually of all the fees, get it on a spreadsheet, you divide it by 0.97 and it goes up 3%, and that's what the fee's gonna be. And to stick with, or whatever the inflation rate is. It drives me, I know what a dollar is worth today compared to what it was 2 years ago. And to have a fee that was set in 2019,
Doesn't make sense.
we're kidding ourselves. And it's a simple process. But once you get the steps. And so that's something that drives me bugging. Yeah, and this, of course, all questions that you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, think about. Sort them out after you go to sleep.
Right.
Why do we have 3 ambulances when we don't have enough firemen? Who's gonna drive the third ambulance? You know, and there may be a good reason. Do we need an ambulance for backup? And I think they do a great job, and I'm not, saying they're not or anything else, but
It's a question.
it's a question.
But these are questions I think that by the time we get to it and we're looking at a budget, the opportunity for thoughtful discussion is over.
So I think I mean, I enjoy these Tuesday night meetings and stuff, and I don't want to do too many of them. But I think we do need to do a little pre-work.
Yeah.
Before we start again.
I think people are always anxious to know if there's any large ticket items on the horizon. And obviously we've checked off a lot, but there's some things out there that are pending. We don't know where they stand. The final numbers on the DPW facility, we got bids and we were $5-6 million short. Then it was coming back. An update on that would be cool. The bridge, there is that issue with the tip potentially.
PFAS.
Paying for our new bridge, PFAS. What about the seawall? I mean, we voted something last year on that. Where does it stand? Where are we? I think people want to know, are these things going forward the way we thought they were, or did what we vote not make any difference?
We're
Right.
then, of
finishing up
course-
on the permits. We'll have that thing done by the fall.
What?
Seawall, yeah.
Seawall?
Is that including the nourishment?
The nourishment just finished up this week.
Oh, okay, great timing.
That's a good story. I think people would like to hear that. Maybe it sounds like we're bragging a little, but on the other hand, keeping people posted that it didn't fall off the rail. It's going forward as planned.
Did the
Gives them a little
Northeaster take all the
confidence in
sand out?
what we're doing.
Said, did the Northeaster take all the sand out?
Yeah, there you go.
It doesn't take it out, it just moves.
But yes, and, I think, as far as previews of coming attractions,
We've got to. talk about
Alden, I mean, they're gonna be, the schools are gonna be looking to do something with Alden Lower, right? They've said that,
It's in the process. It's for them, they're in
yep,
development stage.
right?
And just the whole operating budget with an override is, are we gonna have enough money to continue to go the way we're going along?
And, I know that, I know I beat on things, I know I'm brutal, but the deferred maintenance, it's gotta be brought up.
Well,
It makes me crazy that we have
So-
these gorgeous buildings and, we still talk about buildings that are 15 years old as the new building. Right?
But we're,
What?
I think it's very important, and I'm with you in,
Worried about that.
yeah, because I think we will get to a point of no return on some of the properties, right? And that's a great concern.
We did away with the building, the town building committee, did we, or the town building?
Yes, we hired this, building, the facilities manager, who was now left.
Well, let's hope that there are facility managers available that we can pick up and keep going and.
Rainey, is that search started?
Yes, we have applicants.
Oh, good.
When are you gonna start interviewing, Rainey? Do you have a schedule down yet?
Don't know yet. I don't know, in the next week or two.
Any ETA, do you think, normally
No.
how,
No, I don't have one. I don't have an ETA right now.
okay. I'm just trying to figure, is it 3 months, is it 2 months, is it 6 months?
As soon as possible.
Thank you, sir. Still
You're
need
welcome.
that.
Right. So if
I'm just saying,
If I think, I mean, I don't, the best of times, the worst of times speech, but, we do a lot of things right, but we have a lot of projects coming in, and we really have, and Mary, and I'm not being dramatic when I say that we do not have a huge bandwidth to deal with a lot more major debt. So it's either going to be an override or it's gonna be exclusionary debt, right? And exclusionary debt is great for big projects, but it does not manage deferred maintenance.
It's maintenance.
And it doesn't do anything to existing operations.
No. And we've just been through 2 years of determining that we had to adjust our labor costs to maintain a labor force.
Yeah. And we've also talked that for example, facilities budget has been chronically underfunded to address the
Correct.
things that we've been
That's
talking
correct.
about on an ongoing operational basis.
And there's that disparity between school and town. Right, and where the majority of tickets are on the school side, not on the
I
town.
think the mistake we make is we think our capital budget and capital light budgets are really taking care of deferred maintenance, and they aren't.
They
Yeah.
shouldn't,
They
and
got
they
nothing to
shouldn't.
do with it.
They are not, and part of the conversation also is that on an annual basis, there are departments who make requests, but we have never fully funded a capital to address all of the requests or needs of the department in any given year.
And they may not all be capital requests, right? So a lot of it is maintenance and enhancement, right? Which you would fall into an operational budget.
Well, a regular painting schedule, a regular,
Well, if you look at capital light to that point, there are a couple of items to replace carpet at the library or to paint a section of the police station. And
those should be operations.
and that would typically fall within the facilities budget if they had the funding to allocate to that, regular ongoing.
So we've got a couple of things going on for our address. One is the funding of that facilities management plan, which we had with Mr. Cherry, right? And then, or at least replenish that, right? And then understand what is really maintenance and enhancements, right? And you have to do the maintenance enhancement before you enter into a potential capital situation where, because the deferred maintenance did not occur, you are now in a capital expense.
But that's not always the case too. I mean, you do maintenance, you do routine maintenance up to a point, and at some point, there are things within a building that will just have to,
Yeah,
so it's not every capital project is a result of deferred maintenance. But there are certainly some.
Exactly, HVAC, the actual, machinery, the things, they have a lifetime.
Deferred maintenance isn't to avoid, it's just to maintain and to keep things running the way that they should. And yes, give us a longer life on these assets.
Extend the life and ensure that you don't, by not doing it, we all know this story, I'm not gonna beat it up, everybody understands it.
Right.
Everybody owns a home, everybody gets it.
Well, hopefully, but yes, so that will be, so from what I'm hearing, remarks should include fees, and a more rigorous,
Fees are on the other, let Alex handle it, but I think,
I'll mention it.
yeah.
Fees, that we need to meet this spring and start working on taking a look at where we are as far as resources available to us to accomplish our goals, right? And with an emphasis on deferred maintenance, labor force, and projects that are coming up. And then finish it up with mentioning big projects that we all know are going to be presented to us. Which is bridge, DPW, PFAS, seawall, Alden, right?
Very much. And there's also a, water main replacement over at the East Street Bridge. Wouldn't that be on water?
We're paying for it.
I know, but it's kind of
It's a
like,
different pocket.
I don't look at it,
It's
it's
just
an
in terms of
operational,
project.
in an operational quote unquote budget. It's all, it all just comes out of the same kitty.
Right, PFAS water, yeah. I could throw in water mains with PFAS. Okay, Rainey, anything else that you want me to bring up?
No,
Or
that
Al?
should cover it. That should cover it. Thank you.
Sean, Al, anything else you want included?
Nope.
I'll do it,
Shaking hands.
okay, beautiful.
All right.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
chin up, press on, we will see you, we might see you before town meeting, maybe we won't. But, and at the very least, an hour before town meeting. Be there, be square,
Okay.
It looked pretty.
and look pretty. Damn straight, you're gonna ask these people for $100 million, dress the part.
Wear a tie.
I'm gonna
Business
wear a
casual,
hoodie
right?
to that meeting for sure.
No
Thank you all
lying.
very much.
Shorts and a t-shirt.
Absolutely.
All right, chin up, press on, motion to adjourn,
Got it.
all those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Chin up. All right, great, thank you. Night.